Teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, meaning they have a place of authority over the people. They have a place of absolute authority over the people because they have been presented as those who hear from God, those who speak with and then return and relay information to man on God's behalf, as did Moses. They helped to keep the law in place. Christ goes on to say, so you must obey them and do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. Now, he said do not do what they do, because they do not practice what they preach. How many people have been crippled by finding out that your leaders who sit in seats of absolution, whose power is absolute, how many of you have been crippled by gaining the knowledge or being given information that exposed them as sinners, practicing sinners, flawed, should I say, human beings that presented themselves as though they were flawless? How many times have you found out that money collected actually went to purchase property that would be under the absolute control of those who are supposed to be working for you, working for God? How many times have you found out that your family's money, your mother, your aunties, your nieces, many of your fathers, brothers, nephews, grandmother, grandfather, have sold into ministries for decades, made it a family practice, only to find out that the money that you gave did not necessarily go to do what you gave for it to do. Rather, it went to build corporations. Corporations that you have no hand in. Your children have no hand in. Is that not also a transfer of wealth? Men and women who started their ministries with nothing now have corporations to leave their children, and you who came to help them start their ministries and had nothing but gave of the nothing you had, still have nothing to leave your children? Ignorance. Absolute ignorance. But the religious traditions of the Pharisees have created such a divide between God and his people that you believe what you are participating in is actually biblical, while you look at your family continue to struggle and watch the family of those who have become the modern day Pharisees build corporations, amass wealth that they will leave to their seed, wealth that they collected from you, wealth that you did not leave to your own seed, because you want to pay for someone to run your race for you. You want to pay for someone to be your God on this planet. So he says, do not do what they do. They tie up heavy loads and put them on men's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for men to see. Do you understand that? Everything they do for men to see. Now, how many times have you gone and experienced a show that while you were in the show, while you were in the midst of the show, you felt good? You felt like life was better. Everything had become better. And then you leave, and shortly thereafter, when you come down off your spiritual high, you're forced to deal with the reality that your life is very much the same as it was before you went in. And the lies of the Pharisees are, it's your fault. You would be able to pay your rent if you had a better relationship with God. You would be able to open your own business and your own company if you had a better relationship with God. You would be able to raise your children and guide them correctly if you had a better relationship with God. Well, this is true. All these things are very much true. But you would also have been able to accomplish a lot of those very same things had you not spent all of your money building someone else's corporation. Someone else's corporation. Again, I say, someone else's corporation. That might not be God's church. That is man's church that you sit in. That might be man's church that you sit in. How is it all these churches are popping up all around the inner city, yet the inner cities continue to be decimated by the presence of evil? Everyone is still walking around with their hand out, on their knees with their mouths open and their eyes closed. Do you know how much money comes through the church, through man's church, on an annual basis? Enough money comes through man's church on an annual basis to actually finance a small nation. But just like in many other cases around the world, the money is hoarded and controlled by kings. Kings that moved into the same kingdoms that Christ refused when the devil led him up to a high place and said, if you bow to me, all this will be yours. He said, all authority has been given to me, and I can give it to whom I choose. I submit to you that he has given it to many that you believe are a go-between, for you and God, that is. Many who you pay, many who you give your money to, have in fact not bowed to the will of God, but have bowed to the will of Satan, that they might have authority on this earth for a season and live in the very kingdoms that Christ rejected. We're going to jump down to 8, which will help to speak to what I'm telling you right now. It says, but you are not to be called rabbi, for you have only one master, and you are all brothers. How many of you still refer to someone as rabbi? What did Christ say concerning that? He leveled the playing field. He made it clear. All of you, in my eyes, are the same, equal. So none of you should be called rabbi, because you all have one master, each of you. None of you are worthy to be called master or rabbi. It goes on to say in 9, and do not call anyone on earth father, for you have one Father, and he is in heaven. How many of you still refer to your spiritual leaders as father? A common practice in the church today. Even in the Catholic Church. Father so-and-so, Father so-and-so. And then everyone is amazed when they find out Father so-and-so has been molesting children. Father so-and-so has been committing adultery.